Mental health.
Mental health.
Mental health. Mental health.
Mental health. Mental health.
Mental health will bring you to your knees if you let it.
Are we ready? Mentally, I wasn't there. Looking at myself now, I'm like, how did I get here? Just looking at it. There was definitely suicidal thoughts. Pain of being punched in the face is nothing compared to the feelings that I felt during all that time. I was in total darkness, and where I couldn't hear anyone but my own voice. I felt no one could hear or understand me. I didn't have anything to hold for. Boxing was a hope at the end of the tunnel for something better.
Boxing. A sport you don't really play, rather survive. It's dog eat dog, and because of its violent and aggressive nature, the stigma surrounding the sport has begun to grow, with more and more people advocating for it to be left in the past. However, in some cases, like the story of Jian Grenique, boxing can be a beacon for mental change. But to identify a change, we need to take it all back to the very beginning.
I didn't really know what to do. I didn't have an idea what to do, and there wasn't nothing that was fulfilling me or fitting what I was about, and I felt very weak, and I also felt like I didn't have any role models, anyone to rely on, so I felt like my whole life was over at that point, along with being diagnosed with Asperger's when I was about 5, which is a form of autism, like that comes under the neurodiverse spectrum, so even mental health and dyslexia and other things like that, and autism, they now come under the same category of that, so I definitely had a lot of things. I might even have more, because I got a diagnosis when I was 5, so probably since then I probably had a lot of things, and so from there I had big enough traits where people knew, okay, like he's different, but they couldn't tell, okay, like he's genuinely feeling like that. How it made me feel was alone, out of place. I felt like no one would be able to confide in me, like because of the frame that I was growing up with, like this autistic kid, this kid that's like, alright, he's got special needs and other things like that. I felt like I was going to be this underdog where everyone looked at, okay, he's the autistic kid, and no one would look at me as, alright, this is Yang. I had a particular path I wanted to go down. I was going to be a bodybuilder, but I was going to be also an astrophysicist, but when I went down those paths, I no longer was going to be those things even after I did them. And couple that with not having very many genuine connections or any close people. I never had a girlfriend up until that point. So for the most part, I was very depressed and lost. I didn't have something that fitted me. I wasn't particularly good at a single thing. I was actually struggling a lot. Like, I would have to really study just to get my GCSEs, and then when we got to A levels, I got 2 D. I think it was a D and an E and an E in physics, and biology, and maths, mechanics. So at the time, I almost had a massive midlife crisis at a young age.
What I really wanted to know was why boxing? Why is it that a sport like boxing can really impact someone's life? With the countless amounts of injuries, cases of brain damage and even fatalities, why is boxing the one that's making the change? I contacted sports psychologist Greg Meehan to dive deeper into the matter.
Everyone's different. Everyone has trigger points to what helps them mentally to perform, or what is needed to help them go to the next level in any sort of challenge. I think there's definitely something in them to do what they do at the highest level for the fighters. To put your finger on it is a hard thing to do, because I think they've all got their reasons for it. You know, a lot of people are driven by money. Some of them just generally want to be world champions, and there's that drive that they get. But coming from like working in the city, you know, there's a lot of high performers there, and some of them work relentlessly every day. You know, I've done it myself, and it's almost like that thing still. You know, I see a lot of people come and go in the city because it was hard. You know, the hours are long and the stress was hard. But there's something in people that keep them going, and I think it's similar to professional sport and, you know, boxing as well. It's what that person's thing is, and if they can channel it.
The skills that you learn through just doing the activity, and you don't need any sparring and no head trauma from this, and just doing the training. Like, you can end up just becoming a lot more better physical condition. You can feel a lot more better mentally because, like, once you've done a workout, you just feel a lot more better.
And better he was. After years of mental torment, years of being stuck inside his own mind, Gian took it upon himself to be the change that he needed to see. Joining that gym, throwing that first punch and competing in his first boxing fight, the sport regarded by many as both dangerous and harmful helped Gian Granique turn his life around.
Over time, it's not that the emotions have gotten less, it's that my ability to deal with them has gotten a lot more. So boxing's over time, because each fight I've had to deal with more and more emotions, more and more nerves, and sometimes even less. I'm now feeling a lot more empowered than I've ever felt before. So no longer, like, if I was to go into a rage and stuff, no longer would that control me. I would be able to control it. Boxing has changed my life. What else do I have to lose? The autistic kid that like got out of special needs primary school. Like, so I've come from rock bottom. So I would say the fact that I've conditioned myself, so it's not that I don't feel the same as others. I for sure feel it. I don't show it very often, but like, if you talk to me, I'm more than happy to show it. And I would say, because I've had that many experiences of that, it's conditioned me to the point where I'm like, well, you survived all these things. Like, what's the worst that can happen now? And as a result of that, and then the fact that, like, I've succeeded despite that. Like, things that you just thought impossible. Like, the first fight I first thought I was going to die. It's like I've never experienced this before. I trained so hard for it, where I was like if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And like, when I succeeded, I was like, I'm going to be fine. Like, I don't know how, but I'm going to be fine. And I think that's the message I want to say to people with the thing is like in the moment you can be so coupled with anxiety and your depression, but also the opposite side of the coin is joy, love, other things like that. There's always a way, and where there's a will, there is a way, and there will be a way made. And like, I could feel like death, all that stuff.